Vale, se supone que se tiene que estar escuchando. Escuchando perfecto. Vale. Pues nada, voy a poner esto. Nada, vamos a intentarnos pasar este juego. Es bastante cortito, dicen. Así que vamos a por él. Es un poco de relax. He leído un par de cosas y parece que explica, bueno, la historia de una familia y tal. Así que guay. Vale, voy a coger el cargador. Ok, pues venga. Vamos para allá.
A lot of this isn't going to make sense to you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just going to start at the beginning, with the house.
Vale, empezaré por el principio, por mi casa. No sé si ir leyendo yo o como esto está en español y la chica lee aunque sea en inglés. Puedo obviar que aquello hay al final en la casa. Vale, nos movemos, guay. La sensibilidad, ¿qué pasa? No puedo, ¿no? Qué retícula. Ah. No, 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 no. Pues no puedo toquetear el...
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
Vale, no le dejaban entrar. A ver esto. Vale, para accionar es...
Inside the mailbox were bills
R2.
from 7 years ago, marked urgent, open immediately. I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
Se ve bien, ¿eh? No sé qué año es este juego, pero se ve muy bien.
Didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
Vale, ¿y ahora por qué camino es? Vale, un segundo. Yeah, boy. Vale. ¿Qué vamos? ¿Por aquí o...? Tiene pinta de que es por aquí, pero voy a mirar por aquí abajo. Uf, tirón. A ver qué hay por aquí. Bastante oscuro todo. No puedo ir por el agua. Ah, mira, aquí se acerca la cámara. Y aquí abrimos... Vale. Aquí se supone, a ver, tenemos... 1999. Vale, el mismo año que yo. Vale, y va saliendo fechas. Vale, 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 vale. Entiendo un poco.
The truth is, Even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to. The woods around the house have always been uncomfortably silent. As if they're about to say something, but never do.
Vale, llegamos a una caseta. Vámonos, directamente llegamos a la casa. ¿No? Qué paranoia de casa, o sea... Tú ves esto y dices, vale, hasta la mitad. Pero aquella parte de la derecha de arriba, loco. O sea, lo veo como tan... que se va a derrumbar. Unos triplazos. A ver, ¿qué pasa? Además que se escuchan ranas, tío. Coño. ¿Y esto?
I asked Edith once about the dragon in the pond. She said it had killed her husband.
Que había matado a
I
su
was
marido.
6.
¿Qué cojones?
It seemed like an odd joke to me, even then.
Supongo que el otro camino... Vale, el otro camino hace así. Y viene por ahí. No voy a volver. Porque seguramente no haya nada. Pero... Vale, vamos...
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house.
Tenía miedo de la casa. A ver qué hay por aquí. Hombre, es que una casa para ti sola aquí, en medio de nada, pues puedo obviar que... ¿Eh?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
Guardando. Oh, tiene auto guardado. No puedo salir. Oh, bueno, seguramente lo que puedo obviar es que por la puerta principal no se podría entrar y entra por aquí. Qué putada.
The power had been turned off the night we left.
Madre mía, no habéis quitado ni el trozo de madera de aquí del banco.
For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
¿Por qué tenéis tantos libros? ¿Por qué hay tantos
Instead of a
libros?
family, there were just memories of one.
Solo había recuerdos de no sé qué ponía. No me ha dado tiempo a leerlo. Ah, recuerdos de ella. Vale. Bien.
Like how after Lewis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
Salmón. Qué rico.
Or how only one restaurant would deliver to our house. So we had Chinese a lot.
Ruidos no, por favor. Vale, me voy a venir aquí. Madre mía, loco.
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone.
Me
but sparing
encantaría
the
saber por qué se
furniture.
marcharon, tío. Está ahí una bomba matándonos a todos para Pero salvando los muebles.
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it, like a smile with too many teeth. Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house, after it sank.
Vale, y aquí... Vale, veníamos por aquí. Se supone que es la puerta principal, ¿no?
My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive.
¿A qué puedo mirar?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
Bien. Me encantaría saber por qué se marcharon, tío. ¿Qué les pasaría? Vale, aquí.
Great-Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit. After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house. Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara. My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
Gregory.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
¿De verdad en el lavabo tienen este suelo? Así rollo moqueta. De pelo. Vaya fricada, tío.
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait.
Muy bien, el del potro. Vuelve el del potro. Vale, voy a subir aquí.
Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
La tercera planta, la noche que nos marchamos. Joder, pues entonces, ¿dónde coño tengo que ir? Ah, vale, para aquí. ¿Qué?
Molly always seemed like a girl I could imagine being friends with, if she hadn't died in 1947. I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room. I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
Vámonos.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
Hostia.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan, but I had no idea what was behind that door. Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead.
Buenos días. Pues aquí estamos, muy bien. ¿Y tú qué? ¿Cómo vas? ¿Cómo va todo?
I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here before my mom sealed the doors.
Muy bien, tío. Ahí está. Currando, currando. Bien hecho. En el curro sin curro.
Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat. The gerbil food was
Ya te digo,
strong,
tío.
I didn't mind it.
Me pasaba. Ahora porque estoy estudiando, pero cuando curraba y no tenía mucha faena, es lo malo. Se pasa más lento.
My Halloween candy was all gone. Mom, can I come out now?
Sí, la verdad que lo tenía pendiente, tío, de jugarlo y subirlo. Y digo, venga, va, me lo voy a jugar ahora por la mañana y ¡fua! Llevo no hay menos. Y es una paranoia que no entiendo nada. Pero me molan, tío, los juegos estos. Estos que son así. Sí, 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 sí.
I ate a lot of things that night. Then I heard
Sí, sí, es
chirping
una
outside my
paranoia.
window. It was a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her. And suddenly,
¿Qué
I
coño?
was a cat.
¿Soy un gato ahora? Loco, de verdad, o sea...
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared.
Hostia. Muy buenas. Bienvenidos. Loco, no sé por dónde. Menuda paranoia de juego. Ah, vale, tengo que ir aquí.
Mom and Dad didn't even look at me.
Ay. Loco, pero ¿son maniquís o son...? Son maniquís, tío. Qué mal rollazo. Qué mal rollo, tío.
I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird.
Qué maldita paranoia.
I gobbled her up,
¿Que se mata?
and suddenly I was an owl. First, all
Ah,
I
de
heard
repente
was-
eres... Muy
Then I
bien.
heard little teeth nibbling in the grass.
Un indie de estos que son narrativos. Que no apenas tienes que hacer cosas. Solo te explican historia y poquillo más. Un poco paranoia, la verdad, pero dicen que está muy bien, ¿eh?
Rabbits.
Pobre conejo.
I
De
imagined
verdad.
his face looking up and seeing mine through my talon.
Sí, claro, se lo va a comer de
I
una.
swallowed him up, and I
Está
didn't
flipando.
chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
Está flipando que se lo come de un...
A mama rabbit.
Que se me va. Pobrecillo,
She
basta
was
ya.
almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
¿Qué cojones? Oye, ¿qué es esto? ¿De verdad qué clase de juego es este?
I rolled
Loco,
off the cliff and
no
into
tiene
the
puto
ocean.
sentido lo que estoy haciendo.
Now, I was hungrier than ever. I wanted fat, juicy seals.
Nada, de verdad, no tiene puto sentido. Un tiburón cayendo colina abajo. Au.
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
Qué fumada, tío. Pero está guapo, ¿eh? Me mola. A mí los juegos estos así me molan.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry.
Sí, sí, la verdad que está curioso.
When I opened my
¿Ahora qué
eyes,
soy?
everything had changed.
Sí, literalmente creo que pasó eso.
monster and I smelled people everywhere.
Si te digo la verdad, pasó eso claramente.
I was big, but I moved real quiet.
Cojones. Muy buenas. Hay que seguir subiendo. Hay que seguir. No, 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 no.
I wanted to stop, but also I didn't.
Venga, para adentro. De verdad, qué fumada, tío. Sí, sí. Uy. Oye, loco, ¿qué pasa? Bueno, ya verás tú que me he quedado aquí. Uf. Para adentro. Con esa bienvenida vengo todos los días, hombre. Eso es bastante bueno. Las bienvenidas. Hay que agradecerlas, hombre.
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
También te digo que mi hijo me cuenta una historia así de rara y lo llevo corriendo a un psicólogo. Hombre, tú imagínate que de repente eres un gato, luego una lechuza y luego de repente eres un tiburón bajando una montaña. Yo sí te digo la verdad, creo que tienes ciertos problemas si piensas eso, ¿eh? No, al váter otra vez no. Vámonos de aquí. Vámonos de aquí.
I got closer and closer. All of my stomach started growling.
Sí, sí, literal. Tiburones que caen de una montaña haciendo la croqueta.
I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
Una super paranoia, tío. Vale, volvemos a ser nosotros normales ya.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that.
Ah, vale,
I'm
hay
sure
que
Edie
ir
would have.
descifrando cada uno. Cada uno. Vale, nosotros somos la de arriba. Y ahora hemos hecho, por ejemplo, sí, hemos hecho a Molly. Y ahora a lo mejor, pues yo qué sé, hacemos a Gregory, ¿sabes? Supongo que irá a lo random. Así que... Uy. Así que venga. ¿Haremos lo mismo que el gato?
This will
Casi.
be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly. I spent a lot of time
¿Te gustan los
anchored
pájaros,
in Edie's room.
sea, esto es un poco raro, tío. Que ponga fotos de animales dentro de sus... O sea, entiendo que estarán muertos, ¿vale? Pero joder, tío. Es
We got
bastante raro.
along and it was a good place to hide from my mom. When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't. Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Una máquina de coser. ¿Qué pone? Lewis.
Her room was like a museum.
Odin.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan. On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house.
Se llevó la casa en un barco.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Acabaron en el fondo del mar.
Odin's daughter
Flipa,
Edith, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery.
Nuevo cementerio familiar.
His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Y otra vez. Flipa, Lo de la casa es una paranoia. Se lleva la casa en un... ¿Ah? ¿Otro? Odin. Se lleva la casa en un barco y se le hunde, ¿sabes? Sven, Eddie.
Lewis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him.
Casa barco. Sí, básicamente.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than her mother.
El lavabo, ¿este es una paranoia? O sea, dime tú, yo tengo... En mi lavabo tengo una alfombra, ¿vale? Parecida a esta. Pero es una alfombra que, digamos que está aquí fuera de la ducha, ¿sabes? Cuando sales, pues pisas. Pero es que este baño está entero. ¿Qué cojones?
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Ojo, ¿eh? Entrada secreta. Cuando son libros así, entrada secreta.
There's a secret in this bathroom.
Vaya, pues no.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Hostia, pues sí. Entrada secreta. Qué paranoia meterse por ahí, tío. Bueno, paranoia y mal rollo.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Milton. Porque hay una línea. Ah, vale, porque se supone que son... Qué guapo, tío. O sea, mira, yo... Si hubiera sido pequeño y hubiera tenido esto... Luego tú sabes entrar a tu habitación, tener estas escaleras, tu cama aquí abajo, Ir por un puentecito
I guess my grandpa didn't like history
y meterte
any more than my
aquí.
mom did.
Tampoco como mi madre. Y meterte aquí, tío. ¡Fua! Loco, tenía que ser increíble.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Vale.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore he'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
No creo que sea muy seguro, ¿eh? Están impulsándote como hacia
But
una
that day,
bajada.
he finally made up his mind to do it.
Cada vez más fuerte.
I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Se viene. Se viene.
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd
Yo
still
creo que
be
se va a
here,
reventar, ¿eh?
but I doubt it.
Ahora,
I think
siguiente.
he'd already made up his mind.
A fuego.
That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Vale, no, aún no. Ahora sí.
The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
Qué fumada, tío. Uy. ¿Qué? Fumada.
Calvin's story felt strangely
Vale,
different.
Calvin era
When I
un
was younger, I
astronauta
remember trying to do
que
the
se
exact
reventó
same
en un
thing.
columpio. Y murió en el 61. Joder, sí que vivió poco, tío.
After the
Como
funeral,
claro, si se metió un
he
hostiazo en
looked
el
at
columpio,
Calvin's
¿cómo
health
va?
room.
Tío, yo creo que esta familia tiene una maldición o algo, Ojo, Y este lo tiene bien montado también. Lo que no tiene el puentecillo para ir para
Mom
ahí.
said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
¿Y esto? Hostia. Vaya, vaya. Los pasadizos secretos. Los libros de pega.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Vale. Milton. Hostias.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star. I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards. Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The
Voy a bajar la persiana.
Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
Amigo.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue.
Vale.
She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Madre mía.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Por aquí.
The old Finch rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
A tomar por culo.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're
De un
hurt,
porrazo para el lobby.
confused, and you're...
Literal, pues fuera broma, te da con una muleta esa y te hace daño, Te hace mucho daño.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it.
Qué fumada de juego,
Asleep, watching the late picture show. Hours later.
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Ahora por dónde se sube. Ah, por aquí. Tú. Bueno.
Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Barbara turned, saw the hookman, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And here he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be be another way out of here.
She played her part beautifully.
Dime que puedo ir por detrás y lo reviento. Voy a rematarlo. Ya no está.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Bueno.
Oh dear.
Joder. Pues vaya fiesta. O vaya sorpresa o lo que sea. Yo me cago en la puta de todos. Yo me cago en todo lo cagable, ya te lo digo. Empiezo a repartir con la muleta, me quedo solo.
Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life. I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her.
Joder.
Her ear.
Su oreja.
A real eerie tale.
Qué mal rollo. Venga. Bárbara. Ya sabemos quién eres.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered.
La de la
As
muleta.
absurd as that comic was. Maybe
¿Cuánto
what
nos
Edie
quedan?
saw was a happy...
Milton, Lewis, Dawn, Gus, Gregory, Sam, Eddie, Walter. Sí.
ending.
Y que le falta una orejita.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box.
Puedo obviar que tengo que ir por aquí. Bueno, sí, ya me lo dicen las letras. Por aquí no puedo, ¿no? Nope. Vale, está la habitación. Sí, pero...
All those times I played with the music box and never found the basement key.
Mira, está reventado esto. Y arreglado ahí como... Quizá tengo que ir al sótano. Claro, me gustaría que hubiera luz. Yeah.
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
Otra vacuna del tétanos. Joder. Madre mía.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages.
La
I
nevera.
thought maybe she was hiding
La nevera.
presents. It turned out she was hiding a lot
¿En
more
serio?
than that.
Hostia puta, qué paranoia, tío. De verdad. Qué maldita fumada.
I
Loco,
remember
mira
asking
esto.
Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
Se marchó otra. ¿Esto es comida? Cereales. Joder, vaya despensa. Te pilla como un poco lejos, ¿no? Quizá. Te pilla un poco lejos de lo que viene a ser. Vale, pues toca ver a Walter. Veamos a ver quién es
Goodbye,
Walter.
everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive the week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow.
Pero con los temblores.
You get used to anything.
Se cae, al final se cae. Se ha caído, muñeco. Ah, solo hay que hacer esto.
Even a monster on the other side of the door starts to feel normal. Almost friendly.
Venga, tío, merci por pasarte. Y que vaya bien el
And
currele.
then one day, everything just stopped. Whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got
Vale, tío,
tired
sí,
of
cuando
waiting.
puedas.
Or
Aquí
maybe I
estaré.
just got tired of
Merci.
being afraid. It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
Vámonos, más para abajo. Qué bien. Flipa, ¿eh?
I know it's out there somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly and Calvin. Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food. I don't
Especialmente
mind
la
if I
comida.
have a year left, or a month, or a single week. I'd be happy with one real day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
Deu. Walter.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down here.
Nunca me contará que estaba ahí abajo. Pues, ¿qué te va a contar, Jamie?
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me. Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made. Trying to bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe 2.
Una maldita vía, tío. Uy.
I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself. And found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
Mira, tío.
I don't know if I should even be writing this.
¿Quién hay ahí?
Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family. And the history you're a part of. Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now.
¿Habré subido hasta allá arriba? Creo que no, ¿eh? O quizás sí, no sé. No tengo ni idea.
I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth.
Qué bien se ve, tío. Se ve muy bien. Se ve muy bonito el juego. Que ya tenga unos años.
And when you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible.
Puedo obviar que tengo que ir por aquí. Bueno, el del potrito. No ha sonado en unos días y tiene que sonar hoy. Estoy haciendo directo. De verdad. Qué asco de tío. El de la puta obra. Cementerio de mascotas, ¿verdad?
3 of the gerbils are mine, and 2 had been my fault.
¿Casi todos acaban en Y o qué? Lucy, Daisy, Durpy, Durpy Jr., Burpy, Churpy, Furpy, Lurpy, Zurpy, Zoe, Coco, Tarker, Charlie, Daisy. Madre mía.
Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery.
Molly, Calvin, Sven, Eddie, Walter. Mira, se ve algo ahí, ¿eh? Flipa. Y Bárbara.
I'm sure Odin's monument
Pensaba que era
had
alguien,
Edith's
¿sabes?
idea.
Pero que va, si en
My
esta casa
mom
no hay
was
nadie.
always trying to move on, but
Coño, va a
for
ver.
Edith, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide. Edie said she dreamed about the old house
La casa.
every night.
La casa. Ya ves. No puedo ir ni loco, ¿no?
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand.
Molaría un huevo ir a la casa esa,
But the
tío.
older I get,
¿No?
the more I can see where my mom was coming from.
Ah, mira, aquí hay más. Gregory.
Her dad had been pretty
Sam
strict,
y
but it
Gus.
wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better.
Y aquí más. Lewis.
She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did.
Shanghai.
I get why
Kumar.
she tried so hard to protect us. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now,
No vea el del potro, tío. Me cago en la
if she
madre
told
que lo
me there was
parió.
going to be so much climbing, I never would have
Ojo,
come when I
eh.
was 22 weeks
Vamos a hacer la del
pregnant.
gato. Se va a romper. Uy. Uy. Vale, ahora podemos subir. Bueno, ahora parece que vamos a subir. ¿No? O algo así.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense. Sam spent his life shooting
verdad?
photos, but
O sea,
Mom said
tienes...
he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
Vale, es Ben, ¿no? Ah, no, Sam. Sam. Es Ben, ¿sabes? Es Ben, que me lo he inventado, es Ben. Sam, es un buen nombre, Sam.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These
Hostia.
memories are gonna last a lifetime.
What?
Perfect.
Am I gonna have to shoot anything? It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? Please just take the damn picture.
Hey, language.
Ah. Yo haciéndole foto al coche,
I'll
¿sabes?
never forget this weekend, Dad.
Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. The camera's older than you are.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hey!
That's a keeper. Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Don. You'll need to remember
No,
this
golpecitos no,
if you
tío.
want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy
Golpecitos
who
no,
died.
tío.
Don, I'm being serious.
I know, Dad. You're always serious. Doesn't being out here... Dad!
Good eyes, Don. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Coño.
Dad, I...
Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Don, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive... Great shot, Don! I'm proud of you, Don. Always remember that, okay?
Ah, vale, tengo que ir.
Sorry, Don. Just gotta reset the timer.
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally normal, Don. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
¿De verdad ha pasado esto, tío? ¿De verdad ha pasado esto? ¿Qué cojones?
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had
Vale,
told
ya
me.
tenemos bastante. Nos falta Dawn, Gus, Gregory, Milton, Lewis, Eddie. Vale, nos queda poquito ya. Nos queda poquito.
Instead of hiding from death, Sam seemed to go out of his way to meet it.
No. Amigo. Todos los pasadizos secretos, tío. Qué pasada.
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got really close. They'd both lost a lot.
Dear Kay, do you remember the way Gregory used to laugh when he thought he was alone? Like something funny was happening, but only he could see it. I think he saw things the rest of us don't.
Que soy una rana.
That's over, Gregory. It's time to... Hold on, sweetie. Hello? Sam, I told you I don't want to talk right now.
What he saw. What his world was like.
Vamos. Vámonos.
Reminded me so much.
Mola. A tope.
Lost in his imagination. Whatever it was, he saw. I know how silly it sounds.
No.
That I worried about a baby being too happy. But I could feel him slipping away.
Sorry about that, Gregory.
I know you did everything you could.
No. Yo quería seguir jugando.
Maybe if I hadn't called that night.
Y deja al niño ahí.
Damn it. Hold on, I don't want Gregory to hear this.
I wish he could have told us about the world he saw. Hey, there's so much I don't understand.
Vámonos.
About Gregory. About everything. But I know what happened wasn't your fault. I'm sure it's happened. I just want you to be happy too. Good luck, Kay. Love, Sam.
Gregory es... sí. Gregory. Vale. Pues venga, siguiente. Vamos a ver qué es lo que pasa. Mira, Gus.
I can't imagine my mom
Tenemos
ever
bastante
writing
cerca.
poetry and yet.
A poem for Gus, who always said the wedding was a bad idea. Our father never hit us kids, at least not very hard, before the day my brother said with teenage disregard that he'd be dead before he'd see a wedding in our yard. My father made him come, of course, but Gus stood far apart, just flew his kite and bottled up the storm inside his heart. I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom, were the words that I
now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined, and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up, and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent.
Vaya fumadita rica. Vaya fumada.
The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid.
Vámonos.
That nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made. Thunder sounded
Venga,
much
todo,
too close,
todo,
and
todo
people were angry.
aquí.
But all my father said to this was, make the music louder.
Luego estás viendo esto.
I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone. Just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
Gus.
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy.
Pues nos
they were going to
quedan
name me Gus.
Lewis, Milton, Dawn y Eddie. Que pone que hasta el 2010. Murió igual que Lewis, 2010 también. Dawn, 2016. Vale. Venga, vamos allá.
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
Son cosas que dices, ¿cómo pueden estar en una casa? Pues sí, lo están. Lo están.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Vale, estamos subiendo. Sí. ¿Estamos en la zona más alta?
I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
Casi, ¿eh?
I'm sure
Estamos
Edith
casi en
was
la zona
happy to
más
have her
alta.
back.
Milton, Lewis, Dawn. O Dawn. Town. Y
And to see kids in
Edith.
the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie
Milton.
gave him a castle. After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
Vale, vamos a conocer a Milton. Pone Milton 1992. 2003.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
Chun, 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 chun. Se acabó. Milton era pintor.
I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
Ya ves. Todo sellado.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
Nada más. Vale. Me molaría ir allí, a la casa. Dudo que vayamos, Dudo mucho. Porque, a ver. En la casa que se hundió, se supone, ¿no?
Mom definitely blamed
La
Edith.
zona alta.
I think Lewis blamed himself.
Yo no sé cómo esto se sostiene.
After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room.
Sellado todas las puertas,
Until Mom got him a
Vale,
job at
Lewis.
the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay
Ojo,
out of Lewis's room.
Míralo con su
Except
cachimbita ahí. Cachimbita, la marihuana. Póster así raro, lucecitas LED. Ojo, El youtuber. Ojo con el youtuber. A ver. Con sus sillitas aquí. Oye, está regalado aquí. ¿Esto es una barca? Sí, sí que lo es. ¿Verdad? Qué ida de olla, hacer algo así. Dime que puedo fumar.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Marihuana. ¡Mira! Que sí, que es youtuber, mira. Tiene 2 pantallas. Y los Astro. Y el teclado Razer. Y el ratón Logitech. No tiene PC. Es youtuber.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery. But he withdrew.
Madre mía.
In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to... wander. I asked him to describe it.
Qué difícil.
He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about.
Espera. Was.
Then something moved. Bats. And toads.
Se acumulan.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head. But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then, daydreaming at the cannery. I spoke with his boss, but he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
Oh, un perrillo.
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination.
Madre
So
mía.
he could do whatever he wished.
No estoy entendiendo nada, eh.
He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Louisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. He followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
Vaya fumada, tío. Qué juegazo, ¿eh?
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him.
Fumada, pero juegazo.
Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
Por fin.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis.
Fua, tío, currar en un sitio así tiene que dar un asco importante. Mira esa montaña.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
¿Qué es lo que está haciendo?
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. His queen waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head.
Me van a matar, ¿no?
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
Vaya. Pedazo de historia, tío. Qué larga. Vale,
My
Lewis.
brother was really cool.
El de los
I
pescados.
wish you could have met him.
Pues queda Dawn y Eddie. Ojo, ¿eh? Ojito que terminamos.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games
Pues
together,
mío.
but he was surprised.
Como una copia de...
He died.
de la Play 1.
way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie. I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
Tienes una neverica aquí y todo.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Shanghai Kumar.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Estaremos ya en la zona más alta,
It had to end one way or another.
Yo creo que sí. Brutal esta zona, tío. Es que tú imagínate ser un niño y tener todo esto. O sea, a ver, dudo que te dejen pasar por aquí, o dudo que esto sea verdad.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
¿Dónde estoy?
the power had been shut off that morning.
Estoy abajo
Edie
ya.
always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
Voy a poder ir. Vámonos. Esto es lo que yo quería, sí. Joder. ¿Verdad? Ojo, tú imagínate ver el mar sin agua. Qué paranoia, chaval. Lleno de piedras y de cosas. Y de barcos hundidos y mierdas. Y porquería.
But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Voy a seguir recto,
I got turned around. I started seeing things.
Oh, yo quería ir a la casa, tío.
Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me.
Vámonos.
Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again.
Ah, la bisabuela.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
Qué típica hacer esto.
We both tried to make the best of it.
Y mover de arriba abajo, así rollo en ola. Esto. Pensaba que no podía moverlo.
A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive.
Ya.
Until I found out about you.
¿Es el final?
I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now, things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
De locos, ¿eh? De putos locos. De putos locos, o sea... Muy buen juego, tío. Vaya juegazo, nen. Impresionante. Impresionante, tío. Qué juegazo. Corto, tío, pero intenso, ¿eh? Vas viendo toda la historia y tal. Ya, puto juegazo. Fua. La opción repetir una historia ya está disponible. Selecciona a Edith para jugar desde el principio. No, quiero acabar de ver esto. Y ya cortamos. Vaya juegazo, chaval. Me encantan los juegos así cortos e intensos, tío. Muy bueno, muy bueno. Oh, Dios. La banda sonora es muy buena también, ¿eh? Es muy, 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 muy buena. Impresionante. Mis putos 10. La verdad que la historia es muy buena. Es muy, 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 muy buena. Así que nada. Cortamos acá. Vale, muchas gracias a todos.